So this video really is ultimately going to be about the subtle release that we can do, the subtle shifts that we can go through as we are moving throughout our day. Because you don't always need to do it so dramatically as I have done. But this was very interesting. The first night that I got my cast on, I could feel panic arising within me because I couldn't take it off. And I knew I was going to be wearing it for the next 6 weeks. And it sort of freaked me out. Really, it's such a new experience because I'd actually never worn a cast before. I've never broken anything before. So as I was laying there, I just called on my team and I said, guys, I have to heal this panic. I cannot deal with it if I'm going to be wearing this for the next 4 weeks. I need to move it through as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So I then went to sleep. And it was about 8:30. And through the next 3 hours, because I eventually woke up again at 11:30, I went through a process similar to what I went through when I met with Mothman all those years ago, processing deep fears within my personality, within my encoding on my signature. So as I would rise up out of deep sleep, not fully awake, just aware that my heart was pounding and I was in terror. And a part of my brain knew exactly what was going on. Okay, I'm processing this fear in my sleep state. So I just then surrendered back and went back to sleep, deep, deep sleep. And I came up again, I'm not sure how long later, and I could still feel the fear and the anxiety flowing through my system. And I said with a part of my mind, okay, it's still going. And I went back in. So I went in and out maybe 4 times, 5 times in that 3 hours. And when I woke again at 11:30, I was like wide awake, sort of high as a kite, because it had gone. I had processed it through intent, through request, and through assistance from my team. I actually said, whoever loves me, help me deal with this, because I was about to get out of the bed and bang this off the wall on the edge of the door to get rid of it. But it's impossible because it's like concrete, obviously. So what I understood was this was bringing up fears around constriction, restriction, being imprisoned. I had visions of chains around my wrist and ankles. I had visions of the Iron Maiden of the Dark Ages, where they would torture people by enclosing them in this thing. So it was the way that this deep fear was to be processed within me. I had created this very deliberately to have this experience, to help process these deep fears. Now, it's different for every single person, and this is the way that I chose. It doesn't have to be that way for you. You may be a different processor. You may have none of this stuff to process, but this is just what came up with me. Now my eye is getting much, much better. It's less swollen. And what I've been processing since the fear left was frustration, lacking impatience, annoyance, and the restriction, because this is my dominant hand. So I've had to slow down doing everything, brushing my teeth. I can't drive my car. All of these things. How do you put on a bra, for example, with one hand? Such silly things, but it's really slowed me down and got me present. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the subtle processing that we can do throughout our day. So we all normally get around sort of not really in touch with the body, just looking out there or off in thoughts, off in reflections of the past, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, maybe worrying about the children or whatever. So our thoughts are sort of elsewhere. And what I'd like you to encourage you to do is to be fully present in your body as you're getting around in your day. So as you're sitting reading or doing the dishes or whatever, feel your body, be present within. And what you will find is you are more within when you are not going through any intense emotion, when you are not in the middle of a challenge and you're just going about your simple day-to-day life. If you focus within and become the observer or the witness within, the watcher within, you can become very adept at watching the flow of the thoughts and emotions and their impact in a very subtle way on your energy. So you may have, as you're going unconsciously through your day, a thought comes up of something that happened 10 years ago that is somehow still energetically anchored in your system. And you go over it for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then your attention is drawn to the next dish, or you turn and start the next chapter, or whatever it is that you're doing. Now, in those 10 seconds that your mind goes back to that moment in time or to that challenge, you may not be fully and heavily triggered to have an experience in that thought, but you are releasing chemicals connected to that thought. Now, the closest example, and it isn't the exact example, but when somebody is ill and they have a morphine drip or a morphine channel into their system, and they are in control of the morphine level of morphine in their system. So when the pain comes up, they then they give themselves a little pump of that morphine to help bring down the pain. The reason I say this is an analogy on a very sort of simple level, is every time we go back to a thought, a stray thought of the past, or when somebody wronged us, or we were facing that challenge, we are releasing the chemical connected to that challenge, to that emotion that we haven't processed. So say you go back to a boss that was mean, or a moment when you were bullied and you felt victimized. Very subtly, you are releasing the chemical of victimization into your system. And then you come back. So it's like that pump, very subtly in small doses. It just depends. Sometimes you can be there and you can feel anger and you want to lash out, or you want to dissolve into tears. But even the smallest of memories and going over that stuff means that that chemical is still a part of your system, your biological system. So when you find yourself thinking of those subtle, simple little thoughts, if you can be within and drop in and feel them, even it's a very subtle process. It's just another way to help release this, another way to become clearer and more in alignment with your most optimal timeline. These little things that come up in a way are showing us what we still need to feel, what we still need to understand. So be within, feel, initially scan your body, feel each part of your body. And then as you are walking, you go for a walk, for example, or doing yoga. This is exactly what yoga, Tai Chi are about. It's about feeling the energy flow all through your system, even in the most calm of times. it's very easy to identify. It's very easy to consciously choose to release when you are being challenged greatly. But somehow you can add to the process of becoming more and more and more in alignment with that higher frequency of source of love by becoming aware of all, even the subtle things. So when you catch a stray thought, you drop in and you feel it. And it's a skill. You become adept at it. It's a very interesting process of going within, even at the calmest of times, and watching. So when you're attempting to meditate, attempting to be in the now, which is aligning you more and more to source energy, when you are in that inner space of meditation or contemplation and you are watching the thoughts come in and then you are watching them go out, that's what you do. You acknowledge them, but you don't attach to them. You don't sit in them and follow the next trail, the next point, the next point. At the point that they come in meditation, you just observe them and let them go. But with this process, you dive into that subtle thought and you feel, where is it in your body, if you can. And as you observe them intently, you release the energy that's at the core of the thought, the emotion that's connected to that stray thought. So it's just another way to be conscious, become aware of the programming of the avatar, the full makeup of the jigsaw puzzle that is the energy signature that you have been inhabiting for who knows how long. Ijukande bibita, sukke, shotaye, sike kamba atike, and take a breath. Isuke, shesa kukamba tekariatse bitikani nanarkukuta, shizegiganda, se utea, hu ete. So drop in and drop in further and swim in that subtle feeling. I know when I've released it because the deepest breath happens within me. It will be your indicator, well, maybe different to mine. Mine is as I'm feeling and dropping in, and it's gone. And it becomes a very simple process after a while. And that's if you can pull your consciousness away from everything that's happening there and begin to get familiar with the subtleties of that flow of thoughts and emotions and energies that runs through your system when you are not greatly challenged. So many blessings, beautiful souls. As I said, if you need help and support in this crazy time we're living in, it's getting very obvious that things are going to be changing. So if you need help, contact me through my contact page on my website or in the link that is below here. And we'll set up a time to work with you. I'll set up a time to work with you in July for whatever you would like to pay. So many blessings, beautiful souls, and I'll be in touch again soon. Bye-bye.